Hey guys, it's been a while since I did a video. Hopefully you watched it and it was who am I and why should you care, and hopefully it resonated with you. I haven't known what to talk about just because I feel a calling to share what I have to share, but I don't necessarily know what this means or what it looks like in the long run. So I'm just kind of walking in faith and doing what I feel I'm supposed to do. So, okay, let's talk about win-win. Okay, so I went to Psi seminars, the Psi Basic, with my husband December 1st through the 3rd, and we learned, are you a win-lose? Are you a lose-win? Are you lose-lose? Are you win-win? So it really kind of deals with the mindset, right? So are you of a scarcity mindset where you think there's not enough and we have to take from others, or that someone has to lose? Are you from an abundance mindset where you believe that there's so much, you know, whether you believe in God or universe, spirit, I've heard it called so many different things. I think we're all talking about the same thing, right? We just have different names. But whether you think that is abundance or scarcity. So for example, I learned that I am a lose-win. I love to help other people. I love to sacrifice for the greater good. And I'm more than happy to go without so that I can give to someone else. But then sometimes when I feel that someone has taken advantage of me, or when I feel that someone keeps taking, or I develop a relationship with someone who is a taker and keeps taking, then I get resentful, and then I get like really angry, right? And then I get to the point where my personality type is I love the heck out of everybody until I don't love somebody, and then it's like you're burning, you're on fire. Oh well. And it's because I'm not great with boundaries. So because I really care about others and I put myself last, I may lose-win. Some people are win-lose, and it's funny because my husband realized he is a win-lose. So he believes that others have to lose so that he can win. He's also a taker. And he learned that through Psi that someone doesn't have to lose. Both people can win. But that was where he came from, right? Because we both came from scarcity mindset. There's not enough out there. So for example, he always was in competition with me. He was always, and I'm not a competitive person at all, unless it's my husband, and then I'm super competitive because I've had to learn to really hold my ground with my husband. Otherwise, he would totally walk all over me. So he's very competitive, and you know, if someone runs a mile in 7 minutes, he's got to do it in 6, and so he's just very outwardly competitive, and it's because he sees himself, in order for him to win, someone has to lose. Some people are lose-lose. They kind of believe that both parties should not get what they want. So sometimes we call that compromise, right? Where neither party really gets what they want, right? But it's something we can agree on, and it's kind of fair and it's even, but it's not both parties getting what we want. So we call that compromise sometimes. But if you really stand back and look at it, did both parties just lose, right? And again, that's scarcity mindset. One party can't have more without the other, or both parties can't get what they want. So then let's figure out how we can make it tolerable and acceptable. And then the concept of win-win, and that comes from an abundant mindset. So abundance means so many things to so many people, and I'm sure you have your own definition. For me, abundance is, when I think of abundance, first of all, I think money, right? Like we all want to have an abundance of money and all the liberty that comes with that, right? Like, so I guess the car alarm is going off. So, you know, I own my own business. I am self-employed. I do not own my own business. I am self-employed. I sell clothes, right? You'll see clothes around me, and makeup. But if I'm not doing the work's not getting done. So while I can work really hard and I can create income and cash flow into our household, I don't necessarily have the liberty. And that just means that I have to sacrifice time, right? I have to sacrifice my time to make a bunch of money. And not that I make, crazy amounts of money, but there's a trade-off. If you have a job, you're sacrificing time for money, right? So when I think of abundance, I think of an abundance of money. But along with that abundance of money, I think of an abundance of liberty where my income is passive. And maybe it's through real estate development. Maybe it's through cryptocurrency. Maybe it's through other forms that are completely passive. So I get to the point where I control my time and I get paid for it, right? Like, we'd all love to be paid to just breathe, right? I'm working towards that. I think of an abundance of love. I truly believe that humans, we are capable of doing the most amazing, loving things, and really rising to occasions, and outwardly expressing love for each other. And I also believe that we are also fully capable of being incredibly mean and cruel. And I myself, there have been times where I get into an argument with my husband, or even sometimes Kaya really hurts my feelings, and I can do something that's really cruel and then sit back and be like, wow, why did I do that? Because that's not me, but my feelings got hurt and I didn't manage it well. So I reacted out of like pain and anger, and instead of, highest and greatest, right? Like, instead of trusting that things played out how they were supposed to play out, and maybe my plan is great, but maybe I call it God, but maybe you say universe, maybe you say spirit, maybe you say source, whatever you call it. Maybe you say, another form of Buddha, Allah, Yahweh, whatever, right? I think we're all talking about the same thing. So, maybe God's plan for me is much bigger than my plan for myself, and things had to go that way for his plan to play out. So that whole scarcity mindset of, trying to be in control and trying to do things my way, I totally went off track, but I think I was supposed to come here, which is why I went off track. So I have an amazing coach, and I can't take any responsibility for any of this, but she always says highest and greatest good. So when I go into coaching sessions, sometimes I'll have an agenda, like I want to deal with money blocks because I have really bad money blocks, or I want to deal with such and such in my head, and they're great. I mean, every time I go in and talk to her, it's always a great experience, and I learn a lot. But she introduced the idea of highest and greatest good, which basically means I surrender, I give control to, God, universe, spirit, source, whatever you want to call it. And I want the highest and greatest good for everyone involved. And when I go in with that mentality and that mindset, I might have had an 8 experience, but it's like a 10 or even like an 11 and 12 experience. I get so much more out of that. So I'm learning to kind of give up control and to just trust and have faith in highest and greatest good. And really learning the mindset of win-win. And win-win essentially means both parties get what they need. So for example, I also sell makeup. Someone needed a lip color off of me, and naturally I would immediately go, oh, you can have my last one, no problem. But I had to stop and say, no, that's lose-win. I can't do that anymore, right? I'm focusing on loving myself and holding boundaries and be good to myself, because the more I can heal myself, the more I can help others, especially my daughter. She's my driving force in all of this. So instead of me saying, yeah, you can have my last one, I said, oh, I only have one, but let me see if I can find you another, and was able to find another one for her. And that person actually needed a color, and it actually worked out perfectly for them. So win-win means that both parties, no one has to go without, right? Both parties can get exactly what they want. And hopefully you can start to play with this idea of win-win and highest and greatest good, because that definitely is win-win, right? And one thing that I learned in Psy that's really great is if you're playing with someone and they refuse win-win, right? Like if you're playing with someone who really is a win-loss person, so that in order for them to feel like a win, you have to lose, or everyone has to lose, or they have to self-sacrifice for you to win, whatever scenario you're dealing with. If you're dealing with someone like that, our instructor at Psy was amazing, and he basically said, you can just very simply say, thank you very much, but I'm no longer playing. and gracefully bow out. And so like I actually just talked to my daughter about that, and she's like, well, how do you do that? And just let things organically flow, right? Like when you're on the right path, things flow naturally. You still have to make moves. So I compare it to being on the lazy river, right? Like the lazy river pushes you. You still have to move to avoid, to hit the walls and stuff like that. But you're kind of flowing naturally, and you just need to do a little bit yourself. So it's not autopilot to where you don't have to do anything. You still have to do your moves. But everything flows for you and works for you and guides you. And that everything kind of unravels and rolls out naturally and organically. So I guess I talked about a few things. I guess I talked about win-win and abundance mindset versus scarcity, and highest and greatest good, and when things are flowing, or when you're on the right path, things flow for you. So hopefully this resonates with some of you. If you have anything in specific you want me to talk about, now I'm not near a professional. Like I myself am in the middle of a bunch of coaching. Sai was really great. I highly recommend if you can go to PSI seminars, Sai seminars. It is a fire hose to the face of personal development, and profound. So you start with Sai Basic. We're actually putting Kaya in it in January. So Leo and I have done it, and my daughter will be doing it next month. Yeah, next month. And I also have a personal coach. I see her every 10 days to 2 weeks, and she is absolutely amazing. It's one-on-one. She actually like helps me. I've made so many discoveries about myself. And I think everything has its place and kind of goes hand in hand, right? It's like health, right? It's your fitness, it's exercise, it's how you eat, it's, I like to use oils. I like to get things as natural as possible. So it's kind of a mix of things, right? And I think personal development is the same thing. You read books, you listen to webinars or podcasts, maybe you watch some shows, maybe you hire someone, or you go to like a workshop. It's a mix of things that you kind of put together and work together. So the last one, and then I'll get off, is invest in yourself, guys. So I'm not near an expert or anything like that. I'm on this journey, and one thing that I've learned is we all are on this journey, right? There's no final destination. We're learning and we're constantly growing, and that's the point, right? Is to grow in our personal lives, to grow in our businesses, in our work, to grow as parents, as friends, in our relationships. Like that's kind of the goal, because as soon as you get stagnant, you're no longer relevant, right? So goal is to stay relevant. And so invest in yourself, whether it's buying some books. There's a really great book called You Are a Badass. It's such a good read, and it's really easy to digest, and I use it more like a workbook. Like I read a chapter and I try and practice it, and then I read the next chapter and I try and practice it. I started to really delve in with Miracle Morning. That was a great one, because that basically said you can have everything, but you got to work for it, right? And working for it means you have to fill yourself, whether and he breaks it down into it's savers. So silence, which is, if you're religious, maybe a Bible study. I like to meditate. So you start the day with silence, and then you do your affirmations, you visualize, you exercise, you read, and then you scribe, but you just journal. And that's kind of how you start your day, right? You start your day very grounded with a clear head and a clear intention, and then you're in charge of the day. The day's not in charge of you, right? Because how many times do you wake up and you feel like you're chasing the day, right? And you just can't get your feet under you. You're just going from fire to fire to fire. And at the end of the day, you're exhausted and you didn't really accomplish that much, right? So it's a way of kind of getting ahead of your day. And whether that's through, sometimes just meditation, when it's super chaotic, taking 10 minutes out, sitting down, meditating, regaining your focus, grounding yourself so that you can think clearly, and then moving forward. So invest in yourself, whether it's that 10 minutes to meditate. There's an app, Headspace. It's fabulous. It's very gentle. It works you in slowly. Whether it's going to the gym, I know some people that work out and that's how they keep their sanity. Whether it's buying a book and then spending the 10 to 15 minutes to 30 minutes a day reading the book. whether it's journaling and actually sitting yourself down, whether it's hiring a coach or going to a workshop or investing in something like PSI. That's a little bit of a heavier investment, but so worth it. Another thing really quick. I had a girlfriend that really started to work on some personal development for her business, and she was doing great, and then she had a couple bad days, and I actually reached out. I felt like I had to reach out to her, and I reached out to her, and we talked a little bit, and she was kind of beating herself up because she wasn't doing 100%, right? Like, oh, I only got 85% done, and so she's beating herself up. So then she just gives up, and that's human. That's superhuman. I don't know about you, but I love to beat myself up. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I'm working on the self-love so that I'll stop doing that. But instead of, and another concept that my coach taught me, instead of looking forward about what you have to do and how much more work you have to get done, look back. Look at, if I look at where I was 6 months from now, it's a world of difference, right? It's crazy how different it is. And I can sit in it and I can go, wow, I've really accomplished a lot. And that gives me the momentum to keep going, even on the hard days. Personal development, it's not all roses. There are some days where you really kind of uncover some demons, or things that, like for me, I thought I'd conquered so much, and then when they kind of reared their ugly head, it was like, oh, you're still here? I conquered you. And then to hear, when you start really paying attention to the chatter of what you're saying to yourself back here, it's kind of heartbreaking. For me, I love to beat myself up, and so I say some really mean stuff to myself, and hearing that was just kind of like, whoa, wow, okay. I didn't know that was there. But if you don't know, you can't fix it and you can't address it. So sometimes you kind of have to go through, all the mud and all the crap before you can come out on the other side, right? So we have to deal with it so that we can keep growing, improving, and really being in control of our lives and living the life we want, instead of being victim to our circumstances and what happens to us. So hopefully this resonated with you guys. If it did, please subscribe to my channel. I am going to do better about getting on more than once, like a month or something, because that's kind of crazy. But I do feel very nervous and scared doing these things, just because I don't feel like I'm near the expert that should be talking about this, but I do feel guided and driven to do it. So I kind of wait till I get to the point where it's like, I have to say something right now, and then I jump on. And I was a little bit more prepared today, but not as prepared as I would like to be. So I am getting better. My intention is to get better and to post at least 2 a month, if not 4. I'm going to work up to being weekly. But hopefully you guys are having a great day. It is Wednesday. It's Wednesday. December 12th? 13th? It's the middle of December. Christmas is coming, guys. I hope you're ready. And if not, if you're like me and you're not ready, I hope you're starting to really get ready. And I hope, if I don't jump on before that, I hope you have a fantastic Christmas. I hope you are surrounded by love, friends, family, whatever family looks like to you. Love and joy. And I will talk to you guys next time. Okay, thanks. Bye.